football fans, and welcome to The Onside Kick. My name is Ricky Widmer, and as always, I'm joined with Dave Oster.
Hey, guys.
And Mark Weber.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I think Prince Fielder looks real good on the body cover.
Oh, he did look great on the body
great.
cover. He arguably looks better
fantastic.
out of uniform than in uniform.
I can agree with that. I think he looks real nice.
But this week on the podcast, guys, we've got MVP talk. Because we all know how we love the MVP talk before the season even starts.
Well, you know, we like to predict things that are going to happen at the end of the season before the season starts.
Yeah, but you know what? And I'm going to throw this out there before we get into this, is I was listening to Colin Cowherd this week, said something that's actually very true. You can make predictions. Doesn't matter if you're right, because no one's going to remember.
Exactly. Unless you start betting on them.
Or there are those random blogs that are really creepy that someone will start that are like the I'm going to prove everybody wrong thing. Because people do that, and it's weird.
Yeah, but those people have no friends.
Yeah.
Like the guy, wasn't there a guy, I can't remember who it was, that did the story on Colin Kaepernick while
yeah.
he was at Nevada?
Yep.
And
And then it came back that he was right?
He went back and did all those things. But people do that. They'll find your old tweets and go, remember when you said that? You were wrong. And then you ask them, what have you been doing for the last few hours? You know outside is a thing.
It's like accidentally liking a photo from 2 years ago.
At
That instant
2
regret.
a.m.
Yep. Instant
And
regret.
There's no coming back from that one.
Nope. Summer photos, man. You can't not click that album.
No comeback.
But Bovada.com put out their kind of rankings for their odds for the MVP in the NFL this year. The top five. Peyton Manning leads the list 3-1. Aaron Rodgers 6-1. Drew Brees 7-1. Brady 9-1. Andrew Luck, surprisingly, number 5, 16-1 odds to be the MVP.
Surprising because he's going to win it all.
I think people are way too high on Andrew Luck, I'll be honest. I don't understand it. I know
he's
he's
done
good.
Ever since he's been here, he's done nothing but great. And I don't see a reason why that can't continue.
He was a number 1 overall pick.
I am joking a little bit when I say he's going to win the MVP. I don't think that's going to happen.
Everybody's
He
like, oh, this is
could.
the best
But
thing.
yeah, he's got
Give me a
potential.
case for why he wouldn't.
He doesn't have the kind of wide receivers that there are in Denver. He doesn't have the kind of wide receivers that they have. Mainly Jimmy Graham in down in. I'm forgetting the name of the Saints. But yeah, there's all these places have great wide receivers. I would even say, if it wasn't for injuries, Jay Cutler has a better chance than
Jay Cutler could stay healthy.
Andrew
His
Luck.
number would be a whole lot better than 16-1.
Yeah,
20-1. I'm sorry, 20-1.
Yeah, I think Andrew Luck definitely has all the talent to do it, and one day he's going to win a bunch of MVPs. Right now, he's got T.Y., who I'm not that excited about.
I am.
And he's got Reggie Wayne with what left in the tank.
I think
don't
Reggie
know.
Wayne back out there means T.Y. can play his true position, which means that his numbers go back up and he'll look better.
It would certainly help if there was a running back out there participating.
They may have. I think they used some picks to get a running back in the city, if I remember right. But I didn't see him much.
Yeah, some people like to claim that they did that, but I don't think it's true. I think that's an urban legend.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
But I will
maybe we'll
say,
see him this season.
I do have some hope for Trent Richardson to actually participate this year.
Yeah.
Because he had time to actually learn the playbook.
I don't understand why that turns into such a big deal. It's like you're running back, pick your spot to go for a gap and then run.
Well, and also to be fair, I don't think the offensive line of the Colts is anything
They're
to
not
be
doing any
excited
favors,
about.
yeah.
Well,
But
and
still.
the one thing I was looking into was the past MVP winners, and I kind of, if Luck were to win the MVP, I would kind of relate a little bit to 2003 Steve McNair, because Steve McNair, great quarterback, but he only had one good wide receiver that year in Derek Mason. The second wide receiver was Drew Bennett.
But it's a different league. Now it's all about how many people can you throw it to and how many yards can you put up.
It truly is. But you know what I saw from that legacy list of MVPs?
Peyton Manning,
A triple
Tom Brady.
A triple hit of Brett Favre. Right there.
95 to 97,
Are we
1, 2,
hoping
and
he
3.
comes back?
That was my childhood right there. I'm a hardcore Chicago fan, but I love Brett Favre. I'm sorry.
I mean,
It's bad to admit.
You look at our childhood, because really 95 was like my first year of being old enough to understand this game of football.
Yeah.
Favre with Barry Sanders as co-MVPs in 97. Terrell Davis and Kurt Warner, 98-99.
That was a golden age of football.
Yeah, but I mean, you say it's a golden age of football, but at the same time, think of, Aaron Rodgers is out there. Peyton Manning's out there. It's all about receivers and quarterbacks
it
now.
was a
But
different
this is the golden age of the passing game.
Yeah.
It's just that
it's
we don't really
fantastic
have
that we
those.
can't touch a quarterback. Otherwise, you'll get ridiculous penalties, fines, and lose the game for your
We don't
entire
have
team.
anybody out there to throw a record number of interceptions now.
Well, and the thing about, I want to get back to Andrew Luck. Last season, his stats, 3,822 yards, 22 touchdowns. What else does he have to do? He had an 87
Well, when you're
on the
competing
dot
against
quarterback
guys who are
rating.
throwing for 5,000 yards.
Yeah,
I
so
think
you're around 1,200
Hey.
yards off.
Yeah.
He only had 9 interceptions, low interception number.
Not the best touchdown interception ratio, though.
He could use some more touchdowns. without a doubt.
23 to 9.
Not the best.
He also runs. He's
Peyton
a runner
Manning
too.
started off 16-1.
I wouldn't really
20 to
consider
1?
Andrew Luck
Yeah,
to be
but
a running quarterback.
Brett
though.
Favre won
Don't
3
think it
MVPs,
counts.
and look at his. I mean,
Brett
he was.
Favre was Brett Favre, though.
No, I know, but the touchdown. The touchdown to
John
inter-
Madden. Brett Favre. So if Andrew Luck wants to win the Super Bowl, he needs to be about 85% Brett Favre,
And
20% Peyton Manning, and another 15% Brett Favre to cap it off.
But I was just throwing it out there.
Brett Favre.
I was throwing it out
I
there
agree that he's got potential to win it.
Because that's the
I just don't
touchdown to
think it's
interception
yet.
debate. Is Brett Favre didn't have a flashy touchdown to interception ratio.
Yeah, but he was.
that
But he was Brett
He
Favre.
was
That
gunslinger. He went out there and he got it done.
that wasn't what we looked at in the NFL at that time. We were looking at different stats, different numbers, and watching them play. I mean, it was just like
Plus, he's wearing those Wrangler jeans. He looks great out there.
he's country strong, I believe is the term.
But for Andrew Luck, here's the thing: what Andrew Luck needs to do, he needs to have another shot of him in the locker room changing.
Ooh,
Then
that'll sell
after
some.
that-
Yeah, women will start voting for him then.
After that, because that's how the MVP works.
Yep, it is.
But after that, I think what he's got to do, he's got to get at least 4,000 yards.
Okay.
Okay, he adds on 200 yards.
Yeah.
Big
well,
blow.
I mean, to be fair with that, it's not a lot, but when you're at 3,000 something, you look at that and it's
you're
not
in that
impressive.
category. You're in the 3,000 to 4,000 range.
Once
yeah.
you get to that 4,000, then you're like, oh,
It's
you're with
4,000
Stafford,
plus.
you're with Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. Like
Even
those
though
are
most
the
of those people
guys.
go for almost 5 nowadays, but yeah, that's
But at least you're in that consideration here.
exactly.
But it is kind of interesting where now it's like, it was always a big deal to get to 4,000 yards. It was even a big deal not too long ago to get to 3,000
Exactly.
yards. But now,
I say 3,500 was like
5,000.
huge performers.
You need 5,000 yards to even be really talked about
Say.
for MVP now.
Jeez.
But for MVP, for me, it really comes down to Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. The big guys. And maybe that's just me being a little, going a little too much on name and what we can commonly expect.
But one thing, Mark, I want you to tell the listeners what you already rule one whole position. Actually, when you think of MVP, you're only thinking about one position.
Yeah, I do. And I only think about quarterbacks because this is the passing league that we have now. And of course, obviously, defensive MVP, they can win whatever they want over there, but we don't care.
It's not the sexy position.
Exactly. So I only think about the quarterback because with the exception of the one legendary season that is Adrian Peterson's coming back from that horrible
And he was
injury.
so close.
So
He
close.
was so close to the
Hey,
record.
I know it was over. Actually, no, it was 8 and 9 years ago. You had LaDainian Tomlinson and Sean Alexander in 05-06.
Sean Alexander set the record for touchdowns that season, if I remember correctly.
If you can
and LT
set
broke
or
it.
almost get to a record,
And
then
looking
you can win.
and looking back, the last defensive player to win MVP, 1986, Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, his life didn't quite pan out as he hoped, I'm sure.
Yeah.
1982, though,
I-
Mark Mosley, place kicker.
Oh, yeah, that's
The
that's
Redskins
nice.
guy.
That's nice. But here's the thing, though. It's a different league. You can't do that anymore. The guy who wins the MVP is somebody who goes out there and is flashy, makes headlines, and gets things done by themselves. That's why Adrian Peterson was able to win. That's why guys like Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees are the guys who win all the time because they go out there, they throw the ball.
I would say, right. It's hard to give a wide receiver that because, okay, you were 1/4 or, 33% of his production. But, I mean, who got you the ball those times? Who gave you those numbers?
The one wide receiver I could see winning. And
Calvin
it's not,
Johnson.
Well, yeah, okay. 2 wide receivers I can see winning. I tend to pretend that Michigan doesn't exist. as an NFC North
Well,
fan.
I'm just going
But
off of.
I was going to say,
Look at what you said last week about
and it's the same
Stafford
exact
and
point.
Johnson.
Because it's that one guy, and for the other one I was going to say is Brandon Marshall,
See,
because it's the one guy, and if Jay Cutler stays healthy for a while and decides I'm only going to throw.
Yeah, but the
there you
thing
go.
that changes and actually hurts Brandon Marshall in the MVP is now that you have Alshon Jeffrey, and Cutler knows that Jeffrey's out there.
We think he knows he's out there. He might forget.
He might have had some amnesia about what numbers on the back of a jersey after a whole offseason. I don't know.
After Josh McCown basically said, hey, there's another guy over here. He's tall and he's good.
Josh McCown's not there anymore. He might not
Yeah,
remind
but
him.
last
Who's
season
gonna
he
tell
showed
Cutler?
It's a long time ago, Ricky.
Who's going to tell Cutler there's more than one wide receiver on this team?
You expect Jordan Palmer
Well,
to do that?
And you brought up Cutler. I want to bring this up.
Mm-hmm.
This week on Sports Nation, they actually talked about Cutler because he's right behind Luck at 20-1 odds to win it. Skip Bayless said that Cutler could win MVP. Stephen A. said that he's out of his mind. Could Jay win if Alshon and Brandon help him?
Yes. Could he win if he was healthy the whole year? Likely.
Let's say he plays all 16 games. Is he going to be MVP?
Very good odds, actually, I'd say. Cutler, if you combine Cutler stats plus McCown stats from last year, pretty good numbers. I mean, yeah, Cutler's made some crippling mistakes. And honestly, that one game that he stayed in until the very last drive, he clearly didn't have anything left.
That was the Detroit game,
Yeah,
right?
he had nothing left in the second half. They left him in and tried to have McCown come in. Nearly won the game. Nearly won it. And it was just like, that performance made me hate Cutler a little bit.
That's not a...
He's got the primetime apperances, though.
Sure, but my one thing on that particular game, that was the one error that Trestman made pretty much that entire season. That's a coaching mistake.
Yeah, it really was. It felt like a Lovey move, to be honest. I'm sticking with my guy kind of thing.
Because Rex Grossman is, in fact, my quarterback.
Yep.
But no, when it comes to your question, Ricky, if he's healthy all 16 games, yeah, there's no reason why he can't.
Because I'm just saying with Jay, let's take that injury bug and just throw it out the window. Because obviously if he doesn't play all 16 games, it's going to be hard to win the MVP.
You're not going to.
In that case, what better offense is there? There's one. Hint, it's the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, but I mean, and the one thing that, I mean, you made a point that Aaron Rodgers, 6-1, he's not going to win the MVP?
I don't believe
what's
so.
up with that?
Because I think he's going to win Comeback Player of the Year. It's the same thing last year. They kind of, I mean, Adrian Peterson without a doubt won it, but it would have been hard not to give it to Peyton Manning. Yeah, exactly. So to kind of give it to both these guys, you just give one of the other awards.
To defend Adrian Peterson, he almost did break a rushing record that year.
But we love quarterbacks.
No, I know, but I mean, he did have a really good season.
But if he broke the record, they would have been flip-flopped.
Yeah.
I mean, Peyton Manning would have won comeback, and Adrian Peterson would have won MVP.
Peyton Manning were
AP did win the MVP that year. That was 2012.
I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth.
Yeah, but I mean, to Dave's point, though, if Peyton Manning had broken the record that he broke last season, the passing touchdowns in one game, tied with Nick Foles, then he would have probably won it in 2012 if that's when he did it. But I mean, maybe not, though.
But let me throw another question out there. I'll throw that at Dave. You have two quarterbacks in the NFC North, Cutler, Stafford. Both are 20-1 or 20-1 odds.
Yep.
Which one would you put your money on if you only had those two to be the MVP?
Crap, that's tough. I like Cutler because obviously Chicago fan, but he's not going to stay healthy 16 games. Stafford, I just don't think people just discredit him because of Megatron. And it sounds weird. Because you have the best wide receiver, your numbers are given like grain of salt. But Cutler's got the best wide receiver combo, and I love him. Maybe it's just a homer thing.
Third most passing yards in the league last year. Where's Stafford?
But Stafford, the whole thing is, I guess whoever can take their team to the playoffs would decide it for me. If Stafford can actually get the Lions into the playoffs, I would be amazed. I mean, this is a team that's just underperformed for a decade. So if Cutler can't do it, Stafford can. That whoever gets him in the playoffs, my vote right there. It's that simple.
See, and that's an interesting point that you bring up playoffs.
Yeah, I think success in the regular season is necessary in order to get the MVP. I don't think you can be a stud on a bad team and you deserve it because obviously you didn't carry your team.
I'm going to bring up this point, though, and I know that this Vikings team that AP was on in 2012 is different because he did carry the team.
I was going to say, he didn't have a quarterback.
He did carry the team, but
they would have had more offense if they snapped the ball directly to him.
if you're voting for MVP, let's say you had a vote, would you vote for a guy who, like Peyton Manning last year, he was on the best team in the AFC, he's the best quarterback last year, or Adrian Peterson when he won it in 2012, Vikings get in with the 6th seed. They're not the best team in the NFC, but they got in because of AP.
They did, and in that, to be fair, in that 2012 season, they kind of had a really tough competition between the Chicago Bears at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So it is impressive for this guy to be like, it comes down to the wire, and we were just able to beat that one team. So in that, I think that has a lot to do with it, especially being on such a bad team. Well, not such a bad team, but not a quality team out there. It has a lot to do with it. But at the same time, it's not Peyton Manning's fault that he's got all these weapons.
Peyton Manning basically broke the league open as far as offense is concerned. I mean,
He makes people better.
well, not only that, I mean, just like the sheer numbers he puts up, I don't think you can take
Video
anything
game
back.
like.
It is. It's absurd. He's playing Madden out there on like all-pro.
In his career, he's only had 2 years where he hasn't gotten over 4,000 yards. That was 2005, and then his rookie season in '98.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. And I think the sheer domination of that offense would mean I would vote for him over Adrian Peterson squeaking his team into the playoffs. Great effort, don't get me wrong. But one man dominated the entire league.
Mm-hmm. And the one thing I was thinking about when I was watching First Take, and they're talking about these odds, and their whole conversation was around Jay Cutler because of the 20-1 odds.
And we should be fair that Skip Bayless loves Jay Cutler
'Cause of
because of the
Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt connection.
Vandy.
And I'm
And he's
sitting
always
there.
waiting for that MVP.
And I'm sitting there, and me being kind of relating it to basketball here in Chicago, I know it won't happen because of Jay's personality, but I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, man, all I can think about is what if Cutler pulled a Derrick Rose and was like, why can't I win the MVP? And then goes out there and wins it.
Sure, but like you say, the personality thing, I don't
He
think
won't do it.
Let's say Cutler would be like, meh.
Well, and that's the thing
He
that
doesn't
Stephen
care.
A.
He's got a
was
hot
saying
wife at
that
home
he
to care
didn't
about.
like about Cutler to win the MVP because Cutler is, whatever.
Mhm.
That's his attitude. Whatever.
And it's one of those things where it shouldn't, be a factor in any of these things. But as we were talking about last week's podcast about the best
Tandem.
quarterbacks and stuff like that, tandem. But specifically when we were talking about quarterbacks,
Yeah, quarterback to wide receiver.
when we were talking about all the GMs and stuff who kind of downgrade quarterbacks based on their personality. Andrew Luck, we love his personality. We don't really like Jay Cutler's personality. We probably don't like Johnny Manziel's personality very much. We're already criticizing Johnny Manziel, who hasn't thrown a single pass.
Well,
We're criticizing
compare-
him like crazy.
Well, Manning won his 5th MVP last year. Could win his 6th if the odds here play out in his favor. Look at his attitude compared to Jay Cutler. It's a totally different attitude than
he's
Jay.
a public entity. He does commercials. He's always faced the public, talks to reporters constantly.
He loves Papa John's.
He does. He owns some Papa John's.
I think he also loves Budweiser too. What was the beer that he wanted to drink after that one game last year?
Wasn't it? Didn't Omaha Steaks do something
they
because of his
probably did.
Omaha?
Yeah. But I remember there was one of his press conference where he literally said he wants to go home and pop open his favorite beer.
Oh, Bud Light? Wasn't it Bud Light? I think it was
would be
Bud
a Bud
Light.
Light drinker. That just sounds Peyton Manning-ish.
I'm pretty sure it's Bud Light because I know you made the same comment.
But yeah, he's exactly that. He's almost like Talladega Nights, where it's let's have 20 minutes of commercials here that not Ron Burgundy, whatever his name is doing.
And the one thing that I'm sitting here looking at, and everyone's talking about how
His name's Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby. That's who you were
yes, it
thinking
is.
of?
Yeah. Well, Talladega Nights.
But Andrew Luck is so high. Cutler is so high. I'm sitting here going, RG3
stanky to
had
leg.
one hell of a season last year. And by that, I mean he was injured.
A hellish
And he's
season.
a 25-1 odd. If RG3's
Potential.
Yeah, but
That's
think
what
about
it says.
think about his rookie season.
But if RG3 has a season that's just stellar,
Yeah, say
comeback player of the year.
No.
I'm putting him in the category that you're putting Rodgers.
maybe.
He's not going to win MVP because it's like, okay, we're going to give Manning the MVP. he's going to be comeback.
I honestly think Rodgers has like a lock-on comeback unless he wins MVP.
Yeah, he's Aaron Rodgers.
RG3, they've added to the offense. The team's gotten better. If he's healthier, I think he can do some phenomenal things with the ball. So,
Well, he did add a weapon in Deshaun Jackson now.
yeah, he did.
I mean, when we're talking about comeback player of the year, too, from Seattle, Percy Harvin. He could win it.
Percy Harvin should have won MVP for the entire season just for that Super Bowl one. Yeah.
Or MVP of the Super Bowl.
No, the entire season based off of that Super Bowl performance. I know it doesn't work that way, but trust me, guys, that's how it should have went down.
And right there, that's not a quarterback.
And I mean,
That's true.
I picked somebody who's not a quarterback.
I'm also surprised. I mean, Peyton Manning's 3-1 odds. That means Nick Foles should be 3-1 too, right? Instead, Foles is 28-1.
Some would say Nick Foles is as good as
It must be a typo. It must be like 2.8 to 1 because I think he might be favored over Peyton Manning.
2.8-1.
Yeah, he might. I mean, he's incredible. Let's compare.
Well, think about
first games between Nick Foles and Peyton Manning.
Yeah. No, and just think about the age difference too. I mean, you would be stupid to go with Peyton Manning over Nick Foles.
Yeah, it's nowhere to go but up.
It's true. His age does go up.
But one of the things that we've been talking quarterback. What about the non-quarterbacks? The first two on this list, AP and Calvin Johnson, 25-1 odds to be the MVP.
And in this case, I think I would take Calvin Johnson over Adrian Peterson. They're trying to add more to that offense in Minnesota, so I think it takes away from Adrian Peterson.
Hey, they did get Golden Tate.
Okay, so in that case, they're not adding anything to the offense. So I take back what I said.
Hey, he's got a number 2 wide receiver now.
Number 2.
Number 3, maybe?
A guy that we know
three.
can
You
be a number
discredit
2.
Golden Tate.
What is Golden Tate known for?
Touchception.
Exactly.
He's got great hands.
Number 3.
Strong hands.
Number 3.
He's great with yak.
We all love
He's
that.
great
Yeah.
with yak, Dave.
I just don't
His
believe Golden
average
Tate.
yak is the top in the league. Yards after
To be
contact,
fair-
top in the league.
To be fair, though, that team has so much going on. The Seattle Seahawks had so much going on offensively. Not a lot of attention given to Golden Tate.
Are you
was
kidding me? It was
easier.
like slants.
He
earned his money.
All the attention for this team is this team that loves to run, power run, things like that. They come up. They don't care about the wide receivers as much. Golden Tate gets some benefit.
Or
Golden Tate gets some benefit.
is the MVP going to be Chris Conte?
He's going to change the game.
What are Chris Conte's numbers? I'm a bit insulted that they don't list it out here for us.
Chris Conte isn't even a 300 to 1 odds like Geno Smith and Eric Decker. They're the last on the list.
Here's what I'll say. If I'm not picking a quarterback, even though I don't see how a not quarterback can win the MVP in today's NFL. So what I would go, probably LaShawn McCoy.
Non-MVP to win or non-quarterback to win?
Yeah, he's not a quarterback.
Not yet.
Not yet. He might be in this weird Chip Kelly offense where Chip does what he wants when he
if Nick
wants.
Foles goes down, this team is lost. So I think he could
What are
step
they gonna
up.
Give it to Barkley.
God forbid. They have run some of the Wildcat played. I think that he could take over full time. He throws a decent spiral.
There you go. So I mean,
way better than Jared Allen does.
to be fair for McCoy, I think if he's going to win MVP, he has to do what Adrian Peterson could not do. He has to break the record.
He's gonna rush for like 2,100 yards. He's gonna probably get like 600 yards receiving. I mean, he's gonna be a monster. Because this is an offense without their number 1 threat again. Well,
yeah, that's true. Well, their new number 1 threat,
I was gonna say.
McCoy.
Well, and LaShawn McCoy
Maybe
led
he'll
the
get
league.
paid as a wide receiver.
He led the league last year.
Maybe they paid as wide receiver and running back. Like they just stack them together.
No, Dave.
He does both.
You know how mad Jimmy Graham would be? He'd be so pissed off.
He'd be like, really?
It's called the
Really?
LaShawn McCoy rule.
Yeah. There's the Jimmy Graham rule. Tight ends cannot be paid as wide receivers. But the LaShawn McCoy rule, running backs can be paid as whatever they want plus running back.
If you are the leading receiver on your team and the leading rusher on your team, you should get both.
Well, he did
So
lead.
Matt Forte would have gotten both, not too
He
long
did
ago.
Matt
lead the
Forte
league.
would have in like 2010. Yeah.
He led the league in rushing, but the one player I want to point out, who's a running back, should he be higher? 66-1 odds. Jamal Charles. He was the 3rd leading rusher last
He had
year.
a crazy good year last year. I don't expect him to do it again.
Well, I mean,
Fantasy-wise,
they're gonna have a harder schedule, harder defense.
Well, yeah, a little bit. And people might be like, wait a minute, they have a run game?
And he might not have
Pay
a
some attention.
50 fantasy point game
Yeah, that
again.
game was just, wow.
He can catch and run in that game.
I was just watching that game, kind of shaking my head, like, seriously, this is happening? What?
In this category of 66-1, Jimmy Graham's got the better shot. But to be fair, if Jimmy Graham puts up great numbers, it's going to Drew Brees.
Exactly.
But still, he would be more likely in my eyes to win over Jamal Charles.
And actually, I looked up that Jamal Charles game where he did have the 50-some fantasy points. He only had 8 touches on the ground for 20 yards and a touchdown, but 8 catches for almost 200 yards and 4 touchdowns.
See, that's the kind of usage we're talking about. That's what LaShawn McCoy needs to instill on this team.
Yep.
But way more rushing yards, too. He needs to do the entire offense.
Yeah. You just snap the ball to him. Just let him do. Just let him go.
Just like AP? Just like the Vikings are going to do?
Yep. Why not? Well, I mean, the only thing against it is you do have legendary quarterback, future Hall of Famer Nick Foles on.
Yeah.
True.
So
You gotta fight. You gotta fight for the ball on those.
What about the quarterbacks? Going back to quarterbacks, what about the guys like Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers, Tony Romo?
I think Romo, honestly, out of that group, stands the best chance. Because let's be honest here, if he takes Dallas to the playoffs, Gerald World explodes, and they really do need it. I'm sick of the 8-8 seasons. I know they are. So I think if he takes them to the playoffs, we've seen flashes of greatness out of him. I mean, he's played through injuries year after year. Supporting cast, they've suffered. They really have, because they go down with big injuries. I mean, Sean Lee, injuries, Witten injuries, Miles Austin's totally disappeared. He's got to rely a lot on Des Bryant, who's surprisingly been mature. I guess that whole lockdown system, maybe we just don't hear about it, but you know what? He's been performing fantastically. So I think Romo is my favorite here.
I'm going to disagree, but someone who has the same odds as Tony Romo, Phillip Rivers is who I think will get it out of these guys if someone does. Because this Chargers team is a lot better than people expect. And I think a lot of people kind of discredit them always.
Yeah.
So
they seem like perennial meh.
Yeah, exactly. And they're a good team. They have a lot to if they can get those more than one 1,000-yard receiver this year, that's going to be a lot going on for Phillip Rivers. And if he can get his team deep into the playoffs, I know it's supposed to be the NFL regular season, but you can't tell me that the playoffs don't factor in a little bit. I see Phillip Rivers really having the better odds of these guys to actually get it done and get the MVP.
My only concern with that is just because of the West Coast. You know, not everybody sees his games. Mm-hmm. Not much publicity out there. There's nobody really star power pulling the attention.
Voting for it.
No,
we're not voting for the MVP.
It still, I think, public and media perception changes it.
Maybe if he stops wearing the bolo tie.
I mean, hate on the tie if you must, but I'd say he's got it.
And I mean, to throw the argument, we mentioned them earlier, both West Coast guys, 05-06, Sean Alexander and Charger LT.
But again, records were broken. That's the key right there.
What if he does have a record-breaking season? I'm just saying. I'm talking about Phillip Rivers.
It'd be really hard for Phillip Rivers to break a record.
No, I know.
That
but
would
what
be
if
like
he
left
does?
field.
Yeah, quarterback. If anyone's breaking records,
because
of course, going to be Peyton Manning.
I'd say it would be Nick Foles.
Or Nick Foles. I mean, they're about the same level.
It's almost as if, Nick Foles just came out of the woodworks.
Yeah.
I was going to say this about Romo, but you could say it about Rivers too, okay, let's say they have a year like, I'm going to go Romo, like he had in 2012, where he 4,900 yards, 28 touchdowns, 19 interceptions, maybe a little high.
Cleans that up a little bit, maybe.
But what if they have that kind of season, but their team makes the playoff as, let's say, 4 through 6 seed, not like 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, no, I think that's a legitimate case. I really do. I think Romo's put the team on his back on many occasions, only to be let down by his teammates. So he gets them there. I think he's got it.
We got to remember with Romo, though, how many of those heartbreaking losses do we have? Those last-minute, last-drive interceptions.
It's called Brett Favre syndrome. It's a real thing.
It is. How many quarterbacks out there have it? We know. We're in Chicago.
Yep. I was going to say, if there's a Spain image of Brett Favre, it's Romo plus Cutler.
Yeah.
Like the combination.
Or
I think
every single
if you had
quarterback
all three of
Chicago
them
has had
together
for the past 2 decades.
No, I think if you had Brett Favre, Tony Romo, and Jay Cutler in the same place at the same time, like something terrible would happen. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, but Jay Cutler gets hurt
quarterbacks?
too much to be Brett Favre. He's not the Iron Man.
No, Jay Cutler doesn't get up after he gets hit. That's why he's not the Brett Favre.
True.
But Mark, you had a game that you wanted to play with these
Yeah, I do.
these MVP odds.
And you kind of touched on it a little bit. So here's what we're gonna do. I was gonna do guys less than 30, but we're gonna bump it. All right, because I want to get rid of some of the guys we just talked about.
Okay.
You have to pick. Doesn't matter, quarterback, wide receiver, running back.
Give me a number.
You can even pick a safety if you want.
Give me a number.
Such as Chris Conti, just thrown out there.
He did have 90 tackles last
He's
year.
going to change the way the game is played.
First defensive player since Lawrence Taylor to win it.
Sure. 50 and below.
50 and below.
50 and below, mainly because I want to keep my guy.
Honestly, real quick before we get into that game, that whole thought kind of struck me. If Devin Hester couldn't win it, his record-breaking season, there's no way. That one kind of still blows my mind.
That was 06?
Yeah.
06, 07 season.
I think that's the 05,
it would have been
06
the
season, right?
It would have been the 06 season because the Super Bowl was in 07.
So
that was the loss
would've
to the
lined
Colts.
Up with
06. Because
No, it was 05, 06. I'm pretty sure it's 05, 06.
Okay.
either way, he loses to another record
Because
breaker.
it's
the
Sean
Bears,
Alexander or LT.
The Bears and the White
Pick
Sox
one.
had their good season the same season.
Pick one. It's LT and Sean Alexander.
Still, he was I thought he really was a game changer.
Maybe if we won the Super Bowl.
If we had won the Super Bowl, maybe.
But then it probably would have went to Rex Grossman.
Okay.
Because he unleashed the dragon.
He did.
So
you're saying 50 and below.
Do you guys need time or do you want me to go first?
No,
Go
I'm going to
first.
wing this one. You go ahead.
All right. So here's the thing. I'm picking Eli Manning.
The other one.
The other Manning. The lesser of the Manning unless it's the Super Bowl.
I was going to say, he has a couple pieces of bling on him.
And he doesn't tend to lose Super Bowls.
Especially not to a certain team.
Yeah.
He is some Brady kryptonite.
He really is. 66-1 odds of getting the Super Bowl MVP, but
You mean
is he
the
on the hot
the
seat?
regular
Or
season MVP?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Because he's going to get the Super Bowl champion.
yeah, if he's in the Super Bowl, he gets Super Bowl MVP.
It's like a twofer.
So, is this him on the hot seat? Are we going to see yet another Super Bowl run from a team that nobody thinks is going to get there?
I was going to say, they have absolutely no reason to believe that they're going to make the Super Bowl, so there's a good chance they can.
And I'm looking VegasInsider.com because Bovada didn't have Super Bowl odds. 45-1 odds that the Giants win the Super Bowl.
Not bad. They're right in the
45
middle
to
of the pack,
1.
striking distance.
Yeah.
If it's anyone, put your money on Jacksonville. 250-1, big payday if they win.
No, don't, because you're going to lose your money.
Big payday if they win.
Ricky has the theory that if you just put your money on whoever can get you the best odds, it's best. But that's not how betting works.
Yeah.
You lose
There's
money.
a chance they could win, though, which is a big payday.
They're not.
Thank God he doesn't know any bookies.
Good thing I don't bet.
Let's just give Ricky a bunch of money, let him have fun, and see
Why?
how much of it he loses. 100%.
Why would you give Ricky money? Ricky, who do you think 50 plus takes it?
I was going to go Andy Dalton.
The Red Rocket.
Like we talked about
nice.
last week with the
Really?
quarterback
100
wide
to 1
receiver
odds.
tandem. Hey, if he can have a good season, get the Bengals to the playoffs,
Doesn't matter because he won't win a game in the playoffs. He
doesn't
forgets how to
matter.
play in the playoffs.
It's all about the season that counts. If he has a great
true.
season, gets him to the playoffs,
I don't
MVP.
think that's true, personally. I think people count in the postseason.
I
as
mean,
well.
don't get me wrong. There's someone above 50 that's going to win the MVP. But if I have to pick someone 50 and below, I'll go Andy
I
Dalton.
honestly would say if somebody from Cincinnati wins it, it's AJ Green.
Yeah.
AJ Green will be the one wide receiver to win the MVP.
He can make his case.
Well,
he
then-
makes his quarterback better.
Yeah.
Well, then you could say the same thing. Then Calvin Johnson.
No,
would've won.
No, because
I don't.
Matthew Stafford's a lot better than Andy
Stafford's
Dalton.
a bamf. Dude played with like a busted arm, shoulder, whatever it was, and won the
can't-
game for his team.
I kind of wanted to
That
pick.
one moment made him.
I kind of wanted to pick Forte, but there's no way Forte would win it.
He's got too
I'd
modest
like
of
it.
numbers. I mean,
Yeah, he puts up
he's a
numbers.
solid back. He does everything we need him to do, but
I
it's
mean,
not sexy.
The only other person that intrigued me was Alex Smith, but with their schedule this
That
year,
was my pick.
is it?
It is.
Wow.
Alex Smith
Psychic
was my
over
pick.
here.
Well, you know I got a thing for that
Yeah.
team.
150 to 1.
But Dave, I thought you were going to go with Johnny Manziel, 200-1.
I love Manziel. Don't get me wrong. He's a lock for Rookie of the Year.
He's
Don't
gonna,
even get me started
he's
on
gonna
that.
play the last 3 games and win MVP.
He's going to get Rookie of the Year, regardless of how many games he plays. Even if he rides the bench the whole season,
He's
Rookie.
just going to
Hey.
run around, throw the ball. Somebody magically comes
He's
down
going to
with
work
it.
out with
He's
people
going to
showing
run
up.
into somebody's back, not fall to the ground.
No butt fumbles.
6-1 odds to win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. No, he's definitely got that locked, like I said. But no, Alex Smith, guy who gets absolutely no credit for being one of the most efficient quarterbacks the last couple of years. His numbers, fantastic. But what do they always say? He's too safe.
But
blah,
that's
blah,
the thing
blah,
for MVP, though. It's not efficiency.
He took the friggin' Chiefs to a fantastic season, brought them into the playoffs, and no credit. The 49ers, unstoppable machine with him when he was their starting quarterback. And then, concussion. We got Kaepernick. Oh, my God, Kaepernick sexy. See you later, Alex Smith. There was no reason to pull him. He had a fantastic year. Like, it was just... The guy gets dumped on over and over, and I feel like he needs some credit due. Like, he started off his career so poorly with just the line of bad coaching after bad coaching. And, you get Harbaugh in there, and bam, he just gets it. And
Or even...
now he's with Andy
Gets the
Reid.
boot, too.
Now he's with Andy Reid, and it's like cheeseburger heaven.
Yeah, but...
Cheeseburgers in paradise.
The only
There you
problem
go.
with that, when you got a guy like Alex Smith, it's like you're saying, it's nothing sexy. And the MVP award is a sexy award. It really
I
is.
guess you could say that,
Yeah,
but I
think
mean...
about the people who win it.
But is Peyton Manning really sexy, or is he
yeah,
just...
he throws for 5,000 yards and
but-
breaks records.
I mean,
Physically sexy, no.
No,
Well, yeah,
no,
we're
no.
not
I'm
talking
talking about...
Alex Smith is a decent looking
if it was
guy.
that,
When
Alex
I'm
Smith's a better
saying...
looking guy than Peyton
When
Manning.
I'm saying
Yeah.
is Peyton
And the
Manning a
5'9".
sexy guy,
Yeah.
though, look at his personality. That's what I'm saying.
And Alex Smith isn't much of a personality. Kind of a
Yeah,
boring guy.
Peyton Manning's not a sexy personality. He's a likable
But
guy.
it just-
He's...
I think the guys who win it, they put up, they give you flashy highlights. Alex Smith doesn't give you flashy
Alex Smith's
highlights.
numbers from last year: 3,313 yards, 60.6 completion percentage, 23 touchdowns, 7 INTs, and a QBR of 49.4.
That sounds terrible, actually.
That was last year, and that was his flashy season, Dave, or his good season. His only other 3,000-yard season was in 2011, where he had...
Well, 2012, he was technically on pace for.
Yeah, but, I mean...
Due to injury.
He actually played 16 games in 2011. He had 3,144. He had 17 to 5 touchdowns to interceptions. Still 47.6. His highest QBR was that 2012 season where he did
Again.
play only 10 games.
Yeah.
69.4.
Yeah, that's just basically what it is for Alex Smith. It's just nothing. He gets the job done, but it's nothing you're excited about. He's not. I mean, you hate to say he's not your franchise quarterback because he definitely can be, but it doesn't get you excited. He doesn't sell jerseys. He doesn't sell tickets.
Not every team can have an MVP quarterback.
But every team wants one.
Every team does want one. Peyton Manning, on the other hand, MVP last year, 82.9 QBR.
Yeah. No, again, he broke football. That's just what he did.
It's surprising that they're even having a season this year after what he did.
It's true. I thought they would have canceled it by now and just given him the award. But, that embarrassing snafu with the Super Bowl just kind of ruined it.
Yeah, they got to give him another chance to win it.
Mark, I'm going to throw you a curveball.
All right.
Make a case for
won't.
300 to 1 odds, Geno Smith.
Well, here's the thing about Geno Smith. First of all, he has a miracle that happens, all right? He plays.
Yeah, say
He starts.
Michael Vick gets caught dogfighting again.
Yeah. And he's
making
gone.
New York the mecca for all news, leading Geno Smith into the spotlight. This guy has to come in and just absolutely carry this team on his back after the veteran comes and disappoints everybody again. I mean, I think at that point, if he then threw for 4,000 yards and ran for about 500, pretty good touchdown interception rate, basically does what he can't physically do, then yeah, he can win it. It's like if you took Kaepernick's stats and then times them by 2, that would be where he needs to be.
Yeah, it'd be pretty impressive.
Yeah, it would be. I think at that point I'd be comfortable giving him the MVP.
I'd be comfortable having the conversation.
Yeah. Oh, okay, conversation.
Yeah, having the conversation.
Now ready to hand over the keys?
Nah, not yet.
Okay.
Last thing to wrap up the MVP and put a kibosh on it. We're going to pick. Everybody's on the table who's going to be the MVP.
Okay, well, I mean, I gotta pick number 1, Peyton Manning. I'm still waiting for him to win that Super Bowl and ride off into the sunset.
Yeah, he's got to do it eventually. I mean, I don't know how many more years his body can take of hope. It's a solid choice, but I'm gonna go towards the comeback player of the year, as you decided, Aaron Rodgers. I think he's got it this year. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. I'm gonna say it. All around, he's the best quarterback. Peyton Manning may have the best stats. Andrew Luck may have the best future. But
Nick
Aaron
Foles
Rodgers
might have, the most touchdowns in a game.
I was gonna say Nick Foles might also be the best quarterback, but
It's a really
Aaron
heavy
Rodgers.
Nick Foles podcast.
It is. I just don't think we give Nick Foles enough credit
We're
sometimes.
big fans of Nick Foles.
But yeah, Aaron Rodgers, just come on, say it. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. I don't think that anybody can really argue with that.
You really going to do this? You going to let the Vikings fan make this pick, Dave?
I just picked.
Do you know who I'm going to pick?
I spent today talking about Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to hear it.
Pick my boy.
Say it.
Jay Cutler.
Yeah, that's why we couldn't do it, because it's a homer move if we pick him. But if you pick him,
You want to know why? Because I already say he's going to play 16 games.
and if he doesn't, we made a bet.
I'm going to wear a Jay Cutler shirt or jersey, whatever.
Yep.
Ricky's going to go out, buy a Jay Cutler jersey, get it signed by Jay and Brandon Marshall because they're
I'd say I imagine they're always together.
Yeah.
Like they're just best friends.
I wanna know,
I will.
actually.
You know what?
Go ahead, Ricky.
I might. I'll think about it. I'll wear it for sure, but I might get it, and then that next year at camp, go down and have
Jay's
him sign
not going
it.
to sign your jersey.
Jay,
He would sign it, Matt.
Jay.
Or this is what I want to know though. In
You
the
guys-
Jay Cutler house.
You guys have to get on Twitter and get some
I don't think Jay's on Twitter.
wheels behind this. Yeah, but Brandon Marshall is his biggest
you go.
His
cheerleader.
wife is on Twitter.
Well, oh yeah, of course she is.
Is
I
Ba-
want to know though
is,
about Kristen
is Baby
Cavallari.
Cutler on Twitter yet?
No, not yet.
The Baby Cutler.
Cutlet's not on. But I want to know what Kristen's opinions on Brandon Marshall are.
Send her a tweet.
Like, is she constantly upset that he's constantly at the house? Is
I
it
was
like
gonna say, is she just disappointed because she's always number 3?
Yeah, I want to know if it's similar to the JD and Turk with Turk's wife.
I think
and
it's
Scrubs,
exactly like that.
whose name I can't remember.
Except
right now.
Carla?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is it a Carla situation where they got the bromance and she knows that they love each other
I
more?
would say she's like number 3 in his life.
She has to know.
She has to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna say Jay Cutler because I did say he's gonna play 16 games this year.
I would love it. Honestly, if he played 16 games, took us to the playoffs, there's no way he didn't have ridiculous numbers with our offense. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm all for it. And one of those is going to be ripping the ball down the field and like impossible to catch touchdowns for Jeffrey or Marshall. Yeah, I would love it.
Yeah.
Who am I kidding?
Ricky's got a lot riding on the Chicago Bears offense this
Yes,
year.
I do. But also,
It's a good thing that his Vikings suck so bad, so he's so happy to talk
no,
about
no,
the
no.
Bears.
Yeah.
Not just that. Bear
Not
fans.
just that.
Not
Bear
just
fans
that.
might be sitting
Teddy
there
Bridgewater.
shaking in their boots a little bit because
For what?
ever since the Stanley Cup playoffs, there's been a Ricky jinx. Pick the Rangers. They don't win. In the World Cup, I picked Brazil and Spain. I didn't even give Germany a chance. And look at who's playing.
Yeah, but what do you know about soccer?
I know, but the
What does
teams
he know about hockey?
the teams that I do pick
Ricky watches hockey.
don't do anything.
I know,
and the
I know.
teams that I don't
tease.
pick do nothing.
So you're riding all your hopes on Cutler, hoping to tank him?
No,
Yeah.
I'm just
Is
saying,
that what I hear, Ricky?
No,
Are
no,
you
no.
intentionally
No.
tanking Cutler?
I do believe
if
he
he
can
gets
win.
injured this season,
But I'd be shaking in my boots if I was Bears
like you
fans.
could come over like a la Tom Brady style to my house, wake me up and be like, "Yeah, Tom's done for the
Hey,
season."
Hey, I'm gonna do this though.
That was
I'm
horrible.
I'm not doing that in this case, but I will say when we do make our Super Bowl predictions before this season, I already made my prediction.
You picked the Bears. It's
Well, you
okay.
have
No,
to
I'm not
continue
doing.
with the
I'm not
Bears.
picking the Bears.
You have to.
You have to. You pick them for
No,
everything now.
no. I have my Super Bowl prediction. I'm doing it just to go against my
Ricky
Ricky
made
curse.
it a few months ago.
I was say, didn't he make it 3 months ago at least?
Yeah, he did make a prediction.
Yeah, I thought so.
A few podcasts ago.
Don't you hate the fact that ESPN, like, you know how last year they were all like, "Oh, the Bengals are totally the stacked best team in the NFL,"
Yeah.
and like the Bears have been like the sexy pick for like the last 3 years.
They always are, and then it always
act like it's
disappoints.
something new.
But the thing is, every third week, that's when they're like, "Oh yeah, we knew they weren't real.
Yeah.
We knew they weren't a real thing."
Why the Bears can't win?
Yeah.
Just big picture of Jay Cutler on the bench.
ESPN Chicago is a sad place.
It really is.
It won't be if the Bulls get mellow.
It'll still be a sad place. It's not going to happen.
But that's going to do it for the Onside Kick this week. Don't forget to tell us what you think down below in the comment section. Hit us up on Facebook, Twitter. I'm at Ricky Widmer. Mark is at the Mark Weber.
Chris
Dave's-
Conti for MVP.
You really?
Yep.
Chris
Yep.
Conti?
Chris Conti for MVP.
Dave doesn't have a Twitter. He can't
Maybe
boast
that
about
Twitter
it.
should be made.
Dave's going to make a Twitter.
Called Chris Conti for
Or
MVP.
a listener should make a parody Twitter for you.
Either or. I'll take it.
But that's going to do it for the Onside Kick. Hit the subscribe button, the like button, all that good stuff. And as always, have a good day, everybody.